our first speaker today, according to the agenda here, Judge Belle Schumann, and I'll let you address the opportunity that we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. As Mr. Buller said, I am a criminal court judge in Volusia County. There's 6 criminal county court judges, 10 altogether. Each of us on the misdemeanor division resolves about 7,000 cases every year, 600 a month, month after month. So most of these cases are DUI or domestic battery, cases such as that, but a large percentage of them are trespass, open container, ordinance violations such as that, disorderly conduct, those kinds of offenses. So that's really forms my interest in this topic, the intersection of the criminal justice system and the social service providers that I see here this morning. I want to make clear before I get started that although I am a criminal court judge, I certainly don't presume to speak for the justice system or my fellow judges. I'm just here today as a volunteer. I do this on my own time. In fact, I'm on vacation today. So I'm much for bringing me here at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I appreciate it so very much. Thank you. But it is an important volunteer effort. You know, my caseload is going to go on regardless of what we do or do not do in this program. You know, whether we get this worthwhile project underway that I'm proposing that we take a look at as a community or not, you know, those 7,000 cases are going to go on. And so, you know, I think it's a very important social project to work on my volunteer time, and I'm happy to be here in that regard. I see several people here today that have joined together in this effort. I see my friends from Faith, Jessica and Luke in the back. I see many of the social service providers here today that I have met with in this journey, and I want to thank you all for being here as well. I think the best way to explain this is that, you know, we're dealing with homeless people now in the criminal justice system. We're just doing it in the most expensive and least effective way possible. You really couldn't design a program that spent more money with less result. And, you know, that offends me not only as someone who's involved in the criminal justice system every day, but as a taxpayer, as someone who's lived in this community for decades, just like all of you have. So that's really where I approach this problem. There are, at last count, somewhere around 2,000 unsheltered individuals in our community, 2,000 people. Now that's not families, that's not children, that's individuals. There are less than 50 beds for these folks each and every night. Now those beds are not, it's not a hotel where you check in and out when you want to. No, you're turned out at dawn to roam around, look around, go to the library, go in other public places. So as few beds as there are in the evening, 50 or less on a given night for 2,000 people. There's even fewer places in the daytime where someone can lawfully be. That's the public places that we all share, the parks, libraries, benches in front of your business, places like that. There's really no place where folks can be. There was a day shelter that was opened recently, but it is for 7 people, 3 hours a day, so that's really not addressing the need as well. So I think we can all agree that there's a big gap in services that are provided here that is unmet by the lead agency whose job it is to find the dollars to fill in those gaps. I prepared, I started looking at this dysfunction that we have in the criminal justice system and how we deal with this problem. And I started looking at other areas that were perhaps addressing this in a more efficient and sensible way. And that search led me hither and yon, but the model that I'd like to ask you to take a look at is from Pinellas County. I prepared a handout that should have been on that talks about the problems. How many of you have been to St. Petersburg? All right, so quite a few of you. You know that they have in addition to that rather strange inverted pyramid downtown, they have a lovely park right down on the bay. It's 6 or 7 blocks long, right on the bay. In 2008, every night there were more than 400 homeless people in tents in that park. They slept on the streets of City Hall and in a tent city downtown. The downtown area was struggling. Every day they had to spray the sidewalks down with disinfectant. It was terrible. They made the national news when the city fathers came in and slashed the tents. Maybe some of you remember those news stories. So they had a terrible problem or opportunity with homeless folks in St. Petersburg. And kind of a perfect storm about that time. In Pinellas County, unlike our county, and unlike every other county in the state, the sheriff runs the jail. So the sheriff's budget was slashed by $100 million. And so he started looking around at what can I do to solve the problem with my overcrowded jail, solve the problem with homeless folks milling about, and so he came up with this program. In 2011, that video that was shown, it's changed somewhat since then, but that gives you a good snapshot of what their initial project was like. They've done their homework for us. That's one of the things I like best about this plan. A nationally renowned expert, Robert Marbut, designed Haven for Hope in San Antonio. He was hired by the city and the consultants there to design this safe harbor project. And what it is a temporary transitional facility. It is not permanent housing. If you saw the video, it's mats on the floor. It's a service center where it's a centrally located services that are provided to folks that stay there on a temporary basis. A diversion center, a portal, where people can come in, get assessed, have a safe place to stay briefly while they move on to more permanent housing. I think the most significant thing about it is within 6 months, St. Petersburg had reduced their homeless population downtown by more than 80%. So it worked. It worked quickly, it's still working, and it's something that I think can be replicated here. On the video, it mentioned a figure of $20 a day. As you probably well know, to stay in our jail, it's over $70 a day. The average cost for a person per day in Pinellas Safe Harbor is $13, so it's much cheaper. As of 2013, in the last fiscal year, they saw 4,000 people a year, average 400 a night, 47 folks, 47 days was the average stay. It is run by the Sheriff's Department. It's a law enforcement model. Now, they have some private security, but it differs somewhat. That's why this is a completely new, something that has never been proposed here, something that's, we're going to
Take 2 of my minutes.
Okay, all right.
I donate 2 of my minutes.
All right, I appreciate that. All right, thank you. Okay, so they've done their homework for us. Now, one of the best things about it is within 24 hours, a caseworker is assigned that does an assessment. How do people stay there? Well, they have a place to stay. It's air conditioned. Hello, it's Florida. You know, I mean, who wouldn't want to stay in a safe place where you can stay more than just a few hours, where you can take a shower, have a meal, have a safe place to sleep. There's library, television, internet access, job training on site, as well as the other services that would be provided. It keeps folks interested in the day. One of the most significant things about Pinellas Safe Harbor, once it's underway, less than 10% of the people that come there come from outside of the metro area. So it is not a magnet for people from outside of the community. Less than 10% come outside of that metro area, and they've been underway for 2.5 years. 18% are veterans. About 25% transition to housing within 60 days. And this, if you've been to St. Pete recently, you know it's witnessed a rebirth, really a renaissance in downtown. There are museums, new museums, and world-class art shops and restaurants, and it's just a completely different place. This kind of transformation could take place here as well. We're on the cusp of some really great things in Daytona. And after living here for many years, it's really exciting to see these take place. But no plan for economic development is ever going to work until this piece of the problem is solved. And that is what do you do with the homeless population milling around with no place to go during the day? And that's what this proposal is designed to address. In my journey, one of the most surprising facts that I discovered was in our jail in Volusia County, 50 homeless people who had been arrested the most often, had over 6,000 arrests. Now that was just through April, so I'm sure there's a couple of more added onto there. Now think of the cost that is. That means that just 50 people have been arrested 6,000 times. I mean, that is incredibly expensive. The National Justice Institute puts a figure of $2,000 on each and every arrest. Millions of dollars are spent in that way. So there's a tremendous gap in services, but with a service center that provides services, medical treatment, home services, I know that we can do better, and I think this is a model that's worth exploring. Thank you very much.